Hi Siri, I'm looking for a new podcast, one that preferably is hosted by a UF Hall of Famer, one that airs every weekday that would bring me everything I need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions. Siri, is there such a show?
Have you heard of PodUp with Matthews in the morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or any podcast platform?
Oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? UF Hall of Famer Shane Matthews has a show every weekday. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow. Thanks, Siri.
Good morning. It is a Wednesday live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. That is International Diamond Center. Today's show will have JC. We'll also have Kevin Brockway.
Oh, yeah.
From the Gainesville Sun. We'll talk about the basketball game last night. Gators kind of manhandled the LSU Tigers. Ruben doing what Ruben does. JC, you're on the Titan More Hotline courtesy of Comfort Tent. Did you get to watch any of the game?
Yep. So let's go with the Gator hat. And, QB, I'm just so pleased at the evolution of how this team is coming along. I really see a consistency there. I think I heard last night watching not just the Florida game, but another SEC game. I think it was the Arkansas game. It was the Arkansas game. And the announcers talking about how Florida is clearly establishing themselves as the class in this league right now. Currently the team that looks to be the one that seems to be improving the most as the season goes along. And it's a long couple of months still for sure. And anything is possible, but just with the way these guys are playing together, the way they seem to really like playing with each other, how this team is forming itself and shaping itself into being something that will create its own identity for this season. And man, it's, these guys are just winning basketball games. I've got some stats and some things to add to that, but I would just say off the top that with the way these guys seem to play on their home court, with the way they seem to go on the road and not care, they remind me of the Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks have a great home field advantage. The Florida Gators have a great home court advantage. The Seahawks don't really care where they play or who they're playing against. The Gators have seemed to not really worry about that either. They go to Duke and they literally are there at the buzzer. They play Arizona on a neutral. They'll go to Vanderbilt and play a hot team who seems to have cooled off here lately, but a hot team at the time and has a pressure shot in the last minute to carry them through. I just love what's going on. I don't want to get too giddy about it because it's a long season, but I do feel really good about what I'm seeing. And I'm not an authority on anything. I just feel good about it.
Yeah, they're playing really well. I mean, obviously the front court's the key. The back court has been playing really well, in my opinion. Isaiah Brown's giving them some minutes off the bench along with Urban. So
sure.
MSRK on YouTube, brought to you by Kawhi Plummer, says Ball disappeared last night, but someone else stepped up. I think he meant Hawk.
Yeah, Thomas.
Jaden Ball wasn't on the court.
Jaden Ball's on everybody's mind. Fifth straight win for Florida, 14-5 overall, 5-1 in first place in the SEC. 4 of the 5 wins during the streak have been by double digits, QB. They're hitting the stride right now.
Yeah, 31 Ember says people in this chat were really upset and doubting Golden when he let Aberdeen walk. Looks like it worked out. Look, Denzel's a good player, but trust your coaches. And sometimes, I think people forget the coaches kind of have a chart of what each player at each position should make, right? So yeah. Anyway, we're not worried about Aberdeen. He's with the Kentucky Wildcats.
Exactly. He plays for the blue team, Florida. I think the teams in this league, there's, if you say how many teams are going to get to the big dance, even though it's very early for that, if you want to do a way too early prediction on that, I got 5 or 6 for sure, maybe 7. But Florida is clearly the top team in this league right now.
They are playing.
Did you watch any other basketball? Did you catch the Arkansas game? They seemed.
I watched a little bit of the beginning of it, then went to bed. They were blowing them out, so went to bed.
It's just amazing because when Arkansas goes to Vandy, that kind of game won't happen, and it's so funny because we're talking about the same players playing on a 90-foot court, 15-foot long free throw lines. And yet, wherever you seem to play in the middle of the week, it just
Well, there are a lot of road teams won last night. Georgia won at Missouri.
Yeah.
Auburn won at Ole Miss. Ole Miss had won like 3 or 4 in a row. So
I,
it,
I like I like this Georgia team, QB. I know I've told you about this.
well, they're a very good team. They're playing like how Mike White played and coached when he was at Louisiana Tech before he came here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know if we play at their place because I can't follow. I don't have the schedule in front of us, but it'll be a different game because you got to remember within the first 5 minutes of the ball game, probably their best player got kicked out of the game, the big man
Yeah.
against us. So it'll
Yeah.
be a little more difficult if we play there. I don't even know if we play them.
I will tell you here in just a moment.
You're
But
gonna look it up?
I mean, it's not hard to do. They're playing at Georgia
We
on
do
the
play at Georgia.
on February the 11th at 7 o'clock. That's a Wednesday night. Speaking of these Tuesday, Wednesday nights, that's when the league plays. So Win with JC, which is typically on Thursdays, I'm going to get with the executive producer, and he's going to clear the idea of bringing Win with JC to a Tuesday night now instead of a Thursday, because we need to talk about these basketball games, and clearly Thursday and Friday the lines are not open for Saturday's games in the league, and I want to focus on the SEC and things that are familiar to us. So we're going to move that hopefully to a Tuesday, if that's okay with you guys. I know that's a programming note, but we have to mention that sometimes because people want to know. So they want to know, QB. So next week I will be out of the country, but I'm going to try to establish an internet connection. It's a third world type of country, but a very cool place.
It's not far from here, so
well, if the internet works, I should be fine, right? Now there will be a travel issue maybe on Monday, but we'll talk about that later. Just for right now, I just wanted to get that out that we'll probably bring Win with JC into a Tuesday slot going forward for basketball, because basketball is now. We are in basketball season. We are in hockey season. We've got 3 football games left, and they're on professional football. These guys here, I didn't mention anything because I wasn't on yesterday, but it's the best story that's probably been written right now in college football history. Honest to God. I know some of these old school stories from the 40s and 50s and 60s with Notre Dame and all that may have been very inspiring. But in today's landscape, in today's world, what these guys did is unprecedented, unbelievable. And if you had Indiana before the season, you would have gotten 100-1 or better to win the championship. So I tried to do some research, and right now, if you look at 100-1 odds on teams that you could probably look for right now, I will tell you what they are as soon as I can pull it up. It's a stat I saw that if you wanted to bet on somebody that was 100-1 going forward, with what's left in sports for this sports season. Actually, Indiana was 150-1 to win the CFP in the preseason. So here are some things, QB, that have the same odds as that. Okay, the Marlins to win the World Series, Nick Bonito to win the Super Bowl MVP. I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
The Suns to win the NBA Finals, Ghana to win the World Cup. That's a country in Western Africa. And Utah State to win March Madness. Those are your current 150-1 odd teams, just like freaking Indiana was going into the year. How about that? Some good information for you right there.
Great information. Chris and Mayaka on the Titanamar text line. It says DJT sending corn dog down to Venezuela to fix that country.
No, not quite that. That's more like sixth world right now, but great question. No, I'm just going to go play in my annual golf tournament in Nassau. So, it's a nice place. It's very close. I'm not worried about the
easy flight.
Yeah.
Andy on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, says, Shane, did Alberto Mendoza get the message that he's not starting QB material? Well, they went in the portal and paid a lot of money for Josh Hoover from TCU.
Correct.
Mendoza's, I want to say he signed with Georgia Tech yesterday.
Wow, that was fast. I mean, he seemed to be picked up.
Well, because Georgia Tech lost a lot of their players. Their quarterback came here.
Yeah.
But they, these agents have been talking to coaches and stuff for months. So anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, Alberto Mendoza, he's riding the coattails right now, and I don't know how good of a player he is. Nobody does. But Kurt Signetti felt the need to go in the portal and get an established quarterback. And the kid at TCU, I
He can
think
throw it.
he's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's got good legs, good feet. I think he's going to fit just fine in Indiana. Indiana's not going anywhere, folks. They're going to be around.
So I saw somebody, was it Mark Schlabach or gosh, I should have screenshot. It's one of those national college football guys.
Yeah.
His early top 25 for next year.
Right.
Number one.
Number one?
Number one.
Damn. Well, I mean, I don't know what their attrition looks like for this year, but he's done it with guys that nobody else seemed to want, and they just evolved and developed through the system. And he's he's going to be there another 6 or 7 years. He's signed a long-term deal. I don't think he has any interest in leaving. Why would he? He's going to get a statue. He's going to get a statue. He and Fernando are going to have statues in front of that stadium, and you watch money just pour into that program. From what I've been told, is the largest alumni base in America, and I had no idea. There's no way I would.
Is that factual?
I just keep hearing it. I don't know. They keep saying it, but how is it bigger than Ohio State or Texas or A&M or UCLA or Florida? How is it bigger? And it just is, apparently. I don't know the answer, but I keep hearing it, QB. I know I'm not imagining that.
No, I think I've heard that as well. I just don't quite understand it.
I don't either. It's Indiana. It's in Bloomington. That enrollment is nothing compared to Ohio State's or Minnesota's or even Michigan's. I don't know. But hey, look, if that's the case, that's the case. And here's what they do. They go like this. You. That's what they do. It's just a great story. Best in the college. Now, how are we going to translate all that fun and success to the SEC? You know, the Big Ten's won 3 championships, and Tony Petitti's jumping up and down like a drunken sailor with joy because he's got Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana carry the trophy after the season.
Mike M on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, I'm pumping the brakes on calling Indiana the team of the century and the best program in college. I don't know if anybody said that.
I don't think I heard that either.
Yeah. They are the greatest story in college football in my lifetime.
Just because of where they've come from.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. This is the purest rags to riches story. And they couldn't give away tickets 3 years ago, QB.
Wow.
When we were all wearing masks on airplanes because of these ridiculous people that told us we had to do it, Indiana was giving away tickets. They couldn't even do it. They filled up 1/3 of that crappy little stadium that they've now built onto, and they are selling out tickets. What do you think the ticket prices are going to be in Indiana next year? You think they're going to go up? You know, QB, I also heard Michigan State, who's now coached by Pat Fitzgerald, who was released from all of that nonsense that he went through at Northwestern, $401 million into that program. They have just poured it in because they didn't have to pay Mel Tucker $90 because they fired him with cause for good reason. $400 million going into Michigan State. Illinois is going to be putting in hundreds of millions of dollars into their program. These resources that they have in that conference are overwhelmingly favorable to develop a program like what we have just seen. I think the SEC's got to understand that we are devouring each other in this league because of how competitive it is, and there is, I think, a belief that it just gets harder now to win the big prize when you're clubbing each other with clubs during the year in every single sport you compete in. So
yeah.
I mean, it's good for the league, I suppose, but it's harder, I think. It's going to be harder for the league to win 3 in a row like the Big Ten just did.
So 31 in Burr says on YouTube, brought by Quality Plum, Indiana is the largest alumni base, followed by Penn State and Michigan.
Damn. That's
still hard to believe.
It's hard.
It's like they make everybody sign up to be in the alumni association, whereas there's a lot of people that probably aren't in the alumni association at Florida. I don't know. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and when State College, PA is the size of
Stark.
Ocala. Yeah, I mean, it's not even that big. It's not even big as Ocala. It's tiny. It's in the middle of nowhere. Now, it's the only school in the state, though, other than Pittsburgh and some small schools. So maybe that has something to do with it. Indiana has Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's a small private school. It is. Purdue is a great school, but it's a smaller school. It's an engineering school. It's not as big as Ohio State or Michigan, and apparently not as big as Indiana either. But that's quite a stat.
Crazy. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations are Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. JC, we got to do some Peachland Dental golf picks. You know,
Oh, you want me to
tour
you need
is
me
in
to keep
full effect now.
you need me to keep winning for you?
But just throw one out there because did you study for this?
Hell no.
Because you
I
did
forgot.
terrible when you studied, but you just threw one out there and you won the tournament last week.
I did. I'd love to if I had just looked at his odds when I said it, just thrown $5 on it. I would have been really proud of myself and bragging to everybody. So January, let's see, this is we're going to PGA West in California. So this looks like the tournament, the American Express, which is in PGA West. So I guess that's what's that?
Just like the old Bob Hope Classic.
What is that resort called? Yeah, I think it's
La
just
Quinta?
that. It could be that. Yeah, La Costa, just outside of San Diego. And you've got some big names in this one, QB. I mean, big shots. What are they going to shoot? 30 under par in this?
Probably.
Okay, well, since I'm the winner and I picked the winner, I get to pick first. And I'm going to go right ahead and take are we banning Scotty Scheffler from our picks this year?
No, let's don't. Not till he starts winning like 10 in a row.
Give me Scotty Scheffler.
Not a way to go out on a limb, JC. By the way, this is our
I need to get my pad.
picks.
I got to write this down. Hold on. Go ahead.
Yeah. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dental work in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Go check them out, peachlanddental.com.
God bless him.
All right, I want Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah, you love that guy. I mean, you
love
absolutely love him.
You know why I like him, JC? Because he plays maybe as fast as I play.
Yeah, you don't make many friends when you take a long time to play golf in our life. And I'm just like you in that regard, because there is nothing worse than seeing slow, deliberate golfers shoot 86. And you ask yourself, how do you get back those 4.5 to 5 hours you just wasted with that bum? Now, I think, with these tournaments, in California, I mean, the weather is always going to be good. So you want guys that'll just make birdie after birdie after birdie, and all of them can, but you really have some guys that are, I think, more apt to go in low. So obviously Scotty's one of them. Another one I'm going to take here. I like the way Jacob Highsmith played last week. I'm going to go with him.
Okay. I will take Ben Griffin.
Yeah, good player. He had a good week last week. What a story he is. He's kind of like Indiana. I mean, with the way he won last year coming out of the insurance office. No, it was a mortgage office. He was selling freaking mortgages at 5% and 6%. Wow, what a story he is. Where do you find the time to practice and get PGA ready when you're out there bitching about interest rates with
Well, JC, let's not forget, he played his college golf. He's a
true.
natural golfer. He played college golf at North Carolina.
Yeah.
He's not a slappy like us that
No. Well, he wouldn't be
years off and, so.
No. You're right. Yeah, I mean, it's true. He wouldn't be on this tour if he was that person. Okay. Okay. In this case, then I must take. I'll tell you, I think Wyndham Clark's going to have a good year this year. Let me throw him out there on this course out west. I think he likes playing out in California. He, of course, won his major in Los Angeles, so I'm going to go with Wyndham Clark.
Do we know? Well, how do we? I don't want to look through this whole thing to see who's playing. That's the problem. Give me Bobby McIntyre. He played good last week.
That's who I was about to take. You just stole him from me. Robert McIntyre's a very good golfer. So good with the short game. I think his short game's as good as just about anybody's. All right, that sounds good. I'm gonna go with a good ball striker who never wins, but you never know when he'll break through, and that's Danny McCarthy. I'm gonna play him.
How many have you chosen?
4.
All right, so let's just only choose 4 so we don't waste a bunch of time if people don't like. I'm gonna go with Min Woo Lee.
You don't think people like this? I think they wait
Might
all week.
some, who knows?
They wait. I mean, how do they not like the Chris Goddard call last week? I mean, it's magic. Goodness gracious.
So repeat who we have, JC, since I didn't write it down.
We bring magic to this airwave.
For the Peachland Dental Golf Picks.
That's right. And speaking of that, Joe's going to be the proprietor of Peachland Dental. We'll be in the Bahamas. I will see him. And of course, I'll take a video and send it to our lovely producer, Zach Rothrock, who will throw it up there on one of our shows next week so that he can thank the viewers for watching Matthews in the Morning with JC, and sponsored by the one and only Peachland Dental in Port Charlotte. So that's a good idea. I think I'll do that. All right. So what was your question?
The question was, repeat the golfers you have and I have.
I have Scotty Scheffler. You have Ludwig Oberg. I have Jacob Highsmith. You have Ben Griffin. I have Wyndham Clark. You have Robert McIntyre. And I have Denny McCarthy. And you have Min Woo Lee, who weighs 140 pounds and hits it 340 yards.
Yes,
so
that's amazing.
His back, I don't know how it spins as fast as it does, but he reminds me of Justin Thomas when Justin was a little bit younger, how quickly they get that around and how solid they hit the ball and how true they hit the ball. They are, I tell you, another guy who's playing great, who will play well in this tournament, I think, is Brian Harmon. I think he does well on these kinds of courses. So.
Yeah. JC, I want to get your thoughts real quick with Andy's question here, and I'll chime in as well. He says, what y'all's take on the Darian Mensah mess? He must have zero loyalty for his Duke opportunity. Are you familiar with that, JC?
Is it the Miami offer that he's got?
So Mensah obviously got a ton of money from Duke 2 years ago or whenever from Tulane.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact we wanted him badly here when John Summerall was hired. Okay. But he said, I'm going to go pro.
Okay.
But he decided that he wasn't going to go pro and he's going to stay at Duke. And then last minute,
he goes to Miami.
Like, I think it was Friday. Well, he hasn't gone to Miami yet, but he's in the portal. So what happens is Duke is suing him because they've already signed a contract with him.
Well, this is exactly what happened at Washington with their quarterback, who, by the way, had to go back to Washington. Now, I don't know if Jed Fish is very happy with him, but he tried to get out of that by going into the transfer portal and ending up with Lane Kiffin. But the contract was signed. He is being held to it, and he's gone back to Washington. I have a feeling if Mensah signed something, then that pretty much will speak for itself.
Or, I think it's happening with the another player at Ole Miss went into the portal. His brother used to play for us, Princely. I can't pronounce his last name, but his brother is Prince something. He went into the portal the other day, had already signed with Ole Miss. I think there's like a buyout of like $500,000 or $600,000 that LSU is going to pay to Ole Miss so he can go play at LSU. LSU is going to have the highest payroll of anybody, I think more than Texas this year.
They're going to go into bankruptcy. That is not a rich state. And I'm sorry, but what they're paying Lane and okay, well, good luck to you, LSU.
So what I heard, and I don't know if it's true or not, if Mensah goes to Miami, Miami's got to pay Duke a ton of money. And then Miami's got to pay this kid a ton of money. Somebody was saying it was going to end up being like anywhere between $9 and $10 million, the whole transaction. I'm like, what are we doing?
That's ridiculous. This is not college athletics. This is crap. Why don't these administrators get off their lazy, sorry asses and do something about this and make some changes? This is asinine. This is just going to get worse and worse and more ridiculous as we go, as the money gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the only thing I can say that could really stop this is a good old, and I don't want it to happen, but a good old-fashioned economic recession will stop some of this. But that's not what we want, right? We don't want that. So I hope that these administrators can just quit being so lazy and start caring about what's going on in their sport. College football never disappoints. We just saw proof of that. You cannot let it get away from you like this when you're in charge and you have the decision-making power to change things. Then you know what? If these cruddy agents who are trying to ruin the sport want to take you to court, then go. but fight it. Do it in the name of the sport and try to fix this. This is not sustainable, QB. They cannot keep doing this. They're going to ruin what is the greatest sport we cover, and that's college football. The college sports, it's the best. I know NFL is number one, this and that. I don't care. For us, in this part of the country, it's college football. That is a fact, and that's what matters to me, and I hope these guys get off their lazy butts and do something.
This day of sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, where proud member Stephen Orr spur your banks. All right, this day in 2018, JC, the AFC Championship game, your Jaguars lose to the Patriots. And in the NFC Championship game, the Eagles blow out the Vikings 38-7.
So UF Gators UF is challenging me on this Bayou spending spree that LSU seems to be on, and the fact that they're the only show in the state. Well, the state is poor. A. B. There is no large metropolis in Louisiana. New Orleans is not a wealthy city. C. Look at Louisiana State's revenues. You can pull it up and then look at their earnings. Okay, there's a big difference. It's called top line, bottom line. LSU is not one of the most wealthy places in America. Its state is one of the poorest in America. And I'm sorry, I don't care about the alumni. They all work in New Orleans. New Orleans is not what you would call one of the big markets in America. It's just not.
I think their biggest booster is the Raising Cane's guy.
Okay, great. So what? Auburn's got Yellowwood. Florida's got Heavener or whatever. Everybody's Condron. Florida, Alabama's got what they got, the Regions Bank. It's just everybody's got somebody. But the way LSU is spending is almost throwing caution to the wind, and they're going to find themselves in harm's way, especially if it doesn't work out for good old Laney Poo, and they end up going 8-4 and losing once again like they always do to Alabama. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm sure he'll be good there. You know, he's a great coach. Blah 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 blah. You're going to have to be more than just a great coach in this environment.
Deanne on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, "Why is the national champ Ole Miss golfer signing with Liv and opting out of the Masters? Cash is the only answer. Lots of money."
And speaking of this, Brooks Koepka, Scotty said something yesterday about having him back, and he's all excited because he knows that Koepka brings a hell of a game to the tour. Koepka's going to be more engaged in his game. He's going to actually care now, and I think I think the PGA Tour is better off, and it will be. It will be better off. So QB, what is before you let me go, what is next for the Gator basketball team? I didn't look at the schedule.
They play Auburn Saturday here.
Okay, it's here. Well, there you go. So they'll be a 12-point favorite, 10-point favorite probably. They were a 15-point favorite last night.
Yeah, I would say 10 would be my guess.
Yeah, Gators cover, folks. We'll talk about it, but
Speaking of real quick, text on the Titan Mar text line for James says, "Shane, do you think Ruben would be a good football player?" That's a great. I don't know if Ruben's ever played football. Probably not.
How tall is
I would say this because there have been some good college basketball players, not good, but people. Antonio Gates, some guys that played college basketball turned into tight ends. He's too big. He's 6'10" If he was built like he is and athletic at maybe 6'5" 6'6",
right,
possibly. But boy, he plays so damn hard, and he is so strong and physical. Fun to watch.
It's really fun to watch these guys who were not the big stars of last year's team really emerge for this year's team. Because like Nick says, every team's different. They have their own identity. And Todd Golden is, I think, enjoying this as much as he enjoyed coaching last year's team. Just watching them play, you can tell how much they like each other and how cohesive this group is. And Kevin will tell you more about it, but that's the truth. I mean, that's how you win basketball games. It's a long season. They'll probably have a 2 or 3 game losing streak. Everybody seems to, but this is a tough league, and Florida's emerged as the leading team in this league at this point. But I do say you got some other good ones. Georgia's much improved. Arkansas, Alabama's competitive. They're tough. So Tennessee, Kentucky. So anyway, I'm a fan. I'm buying in the Gators, and it's basketball season officially, and it's hockey season, and I love this time of year, and that's just great, QB.
All right, JC, have a good day.
All right, brother.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan Mar Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. We'll get his thoughts on the Indiana-Miami game because he covered the Hoosiers for a long time, but he went to the University of Miami. and also covers basketball. Get his thoughts on the game and what this team is doing right now. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
On April 7th, 2025, Gator Nation reached the mountaintop as Florida won the national championship in basketball. Now, relive every thrilling moment with Franz Beard's new book, The Golden Season, the unforgettable story behind Florida's historic 2025 title run. Feel the passion, the drama, and the glory all over again. Available now at Spurriers.com. Click the shop tab. That's Spurriers.com.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios, Miapa Latin Cafe. We love Gator basketball so much. Everyone at the O-Dome gets a free empanada when the opposing team misses 2 consecutive free throws in the second half. This guy, I don't know if he makes free throws or misses free throws. Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun now joining us. What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, it's funny. I did a free throw video about 7 or 8 years ago. I went 3 for 10. I had the Rowdy Reptiles were heckling me. It was awful. Yeah, it was a disaster and something that I won't be doing again anytime soon. But God, what an effort by Ruben Chignello last night. I mean, that was and what he's doing right now, 4 straight double doubles. First player to do that since David Lee. I mean, he's just been a terror on the boards, but he's really evolved as an offensive player too. I think that's been the key. More confident, certainly at the free throw line, his ability to finish around the rim. He's kind of taking those offensive rebounds up stronger. He's become a real force down there to the point where, you're thinking in the beginning of the year, Tommy Houck for SEC Player of the Year. Now you're starting to rethink that with what Chignello is doing right now.
Ruben, do you think he's one of the most physical presence we've ever had down low?
Yeah, I would probably equate it going back to Donnell Harvey. I mean, Chris Richard was a pretty physical guy back in the day.
Yeah, that's true. But he was kind of a part-time player coming off the bench.
Yeah, and Patrick was a pretty physical player. You got to give Patrick Young in his heyday was definitely a guy, that was, he had that bulk and he had that ability. But this kid is special. But I think what's making him special too is you can see the work that he's put in terms of improving and expanding his game and it coming to the court. It's really it's a testament to the fact that people talk about 3 stars or 4 stars or 5 stars. Is a testament to development, and it's also a testament to the coaching staff, to Carlin Hartman too. You got to give him credit in terms of developing this guy into being a more well-rounded offensive force. I mean, you could easily just said, "Hey, look, your role is going to rebound here and protect the rim," but they've made him into a player that can certainly help win in a number of ways, including offensively.
Andy's question for you, Kevin, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Is Ruben's improvement this year greater than what Tommy Hawk did last year?
I mean, it's up there. Yeah, no, I would compare it to that. I would compare it to going back to Noah and Chandler Parsons, two guys, Scotty Wilbekin, guys that certainly developed in the program. You see that, it doesn't happen to every player, and it's usually a testament to the work ethic, like I said again, of the player and the development of the coaching staff, but you don't always see every player get better in their career, but the ones that do are the ones that tend to work at it.
Kevin, your thoughts on the guard play? Boogie Flan was a highly recruited kid when he went to Arkansas to play for Calipari. And, coming from, I think he's from New York, so he's going to be a tough kid. But I think what surprised me the most, Xavier Lee is way more athletic than I anticipated.
Yeah, and he's defending a little better too, which I think is helping his confidence. And he's a guy that's, he's been up and down, but he hasn't been like a complete net negative. There have been some games, certainly the Vanderbilt game, where he flashed and scored. But last night too, you have a guy like Urban Clavichar that picks up the slack 5 threes. So I think between those three guys, you're starting to see production. You're starting to see, hard play on both ends. And Urban is a scrappy defender too. He's a guy that gets his body in there. Sometimes he gets bounced around a little bit. The thing is with Boogie and Urban and Xavier is just maybe the mass, like they're not as thick as guys like Elijah Martin and Will Richard were, but you forget those were 4th and 5th year seniors. But I think at least you're starting to see the effort on the defensive side of the ball. And that's half the battle. The other half is, the physicality. And sometimes if you face bigger and stronger teams, that's going to be a problem. But, you give the effort, that's half the battle. And they turned LSU over. They got some runouts in that game. You continue to do that and you get the easy baskets. That's going to go a long way and, helping separate. You're starting to see Florida put teams away now. And I think the defense and the ability to get those runouts and those points off turnovers is helping immensely in regards to that.
Frank in Chicago on the Titan Mart text line says, what does Kevin think the Gators' 3-point percentage needs to be at the end of the season to have a shot at another title?
I think you would like it realistically around 30 to 33, because right now it's probably about 27 or 28. So yeah, you'd like it up in that range, and you would like to be shooting, by the NCAA tournament, you would like to be shooting consistently between 30 and 35% from three. But listen, I think a lot of it, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday with the 3-point line. If you're not a good 3-point shooting team, what you have to be is a team that guards the 3-point line. You can't lose that battle. So to me, it's, if you go, say, 9 for 30 and you hold the opposing team to under 9 3-pointers, even if they go 9 for 17, I think that's the key, is winning the 3-point line battle in terms of the number of makes. And that's what you got to do. If you're not a good 3-point shooting team, you've got to make it so that the 3-point line doesn't hurt you during the course of the game and defend the 3-point line. That's what this team is really going to have to do to be successful in March. If they, don't improve their shooting, they're just going to have to guard the heck out of the 3-point line and, force teams to take tough twos.
Yeah, I think they're pretty damn good defensively right now. Nat on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, I have a feeling that the NBA will tell Condon that he needs to stay in college for his senior season. You got any thoughts on that, Kevin?
I think he's pressing a little bit. I felt that way all season, to impress people. And obviously, the 3-point shooting isn't there. It hasn't been all season. He worked on it to try to expand his game. And I'm I'm watching the game with a friend of mine, and every time, Condon is at the 3-point line open, he's screaming, no, no, no. Don't shoot it.
I'm one of those guys too.
I know, but you want to know what? I will say this. Alex has earned that right based on last year winning the national championship to take 1 or 2 a game for the NBA. What you don't want him doing is taking 4 or 5. I think that's the thing. I think, if he doesn't start out well, then you put the red light on him. But, my friend says he should be shooting ever. And I said, well, look, he helped lead him to a national championship. He's trying to show this for NBA scouts. one or two attempts isn't going to kill you. Just, you don't pretend that you're Steph Curry out there and take multiple attempts.
Yeah, I have nothing against Condon, but I go back to before last year. I don't see him as an NBA player. I just don't. I don't think he's athletic enough. I think he's a good athlete, but I think he's careless with the ball. I don't think he shoots well enough for the next level. But what do I know? I'm not an NBA scout. Mark from West Palm on the
I
Titan.
think the turnovers, Shane, I'm sorry. I think the turnovers, Shane, are a good point too. That and he's done that, and that's an area that's in his control, and he can cut down on for the rest of the season. Is taking care of the ball a little better.
Yeah, Mark from West Palm on the Titan Mar text line. Question for you is, what bigs do we have behind our front court now? I don't see any huge guys ready to take the court after our stars leave next year.
Yeah, and I mean Mitchik, and Holly needs a heck of a lot of development. They're just going to have to go in the portal next year and get guys. I think that's going to be the avenue they're going to go, and then hope that in the backcourt that obviously Boogie stays and Klavshar stays. And listen, Isaiah Brown is coming on, but when you look at the way the team is composed next year, and AJ Brown is obviously going to redshirt. You could play completely different next year. You could play like a 3 or 4 guard team next year and just have 1 or 2 bigs. But yeah, Todd's going to have to do that through the portal. Jones Lay is coming in. He's a 7-footer, but true freshman. So to bank on him to be an impact true freshman at this point, and he's a borderline 3-4 star kid. I don't know if that's likely. So I think you're going to have to do it. You have to go out in the portal and get a few guys, but there'll be guys out there to get. There always are every year that you can plug in. And look, Todd's got the proof of concept because Chinyelu came in as a transfer right from Washington State. And look at where he is in 2 years. He's done a tremendous job. And I think the hard part about getting the bigs this year was the fact that simply all those spots were taken on the roster and they knew they weren't going to get playing time. So that's why you don't have any impact guys, behind the 4 guys that you already have.
Yeah, they'll find some big dudes that want to play in the portal for sure. The way Todd coaches and the success that Florida's had, I think kids want to come here and play for sure. Kevin, my question for you in the SEC, who has surprised you the most, like team wise?
I would say Vandy, but they're on a downturn. Texas A&M, I think Bucky Ball has been very interesting. Bucky McMillan. I have a friend at Samford who was always high on, Bucky, telling me that this guy's going to be a really exciting coach to watch and so forth. And listen, he's done it. Texas A&M is a hard place to win. I mean, I think Buzz Williams left for that reason, and I often say that I often refer to Buzz Williams as kind of like the modern day Lon Kruger. He never outstays his welcome. Some coaches are like that. And Lon was like that, right? He would stay someplace 4 or 5 years, get it to a certain level, but if he realized he couldn't get over the top, he would go somewhere else. But what Bucky McMillan has done there is impressive because that's not an easy. If you go to I used to go to road games at College Station back when we traveled 10 years ago, and there's not much of an atmosphere there for basketball. But he's certainly done a good job. So definitely, I would say it's funny though. It goes in cycles, and it's going to be a shame because they're gonna they'll probably if Bucky McMillan they'll give him coach of the year and Todd will get shafted again because what Todd's done the last 2 years, he should be SEC coach of the year.
Yeah. You think the Gators are playing the best ball in the conference right now?
Oh yeah. I think they're going to win it. I think I see this team 15-3, 16-2 in conference. Listen, but it's a little bit more of a down year for the SEC in general. So you're not going to get as many quad 1, opportunities as you did, last year in the conference when you went say 12-6 or 13-5. It's just a different league this year. It's not as strong top to bottom as it was last year. So the proof of the pudding will come in March, but I know I was telling you this back in the fall, get that top 4 seed, play in Tampa, 8-0, in their last 8 NCAA tournament games in the state. You're going to have a home crowd there basically for that game. A lot of Gator fans are going to be fired up about this team. And then you get in the Sweet 16, anything can happen.
Castaway Hot Sauce Company, from mile to wild. They have a flavor for every Gator fan, available at your local Publix. Check them out, castawaysaucecompany.com. A few more minutes with Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Let's switch gears. You're a Miami graduate, but you covered the Hoosiers for a long time as well.
Yes.
I mean, Kevin, we've talked about it. The Indiana story is amazing. Just give me your thoughts on that football game you saw Monday night.
Yeah, listen, it was a high level game. And, Shane, I think I told you before it was going to come down to the team that made the fewer mistakes. And, and that Miami was going to have to play a perfect game to beat them. And they didn't. The block punt obviously was huge. And the interception by Carson Beck at the end of the game, where I felt like he had a little more time to work the ball down the field. He took the shot, he underthrew it. That hurt. I thought, first half offensively, I know we had differing opinions when we texted. You thought it was more line of scrimmage, that Indiana's defensive line was controlling Miami's offensive line. I thought Shannon Dawson's play calling left a lot to be desired in the first half, but he kind of figured it out, made some adjustments in the second half. They moved the ball much better, but it was kind of too little too late. But the block punt was really the crusher. It's like you can't give away 7 points in a game like that. And for whatever reason, maybe you could blame the guy for missing the chip on the block, or maybe you can blame, the rugby style punter for kind of punting into it. But that was just crushing to give up that. And the 4th and 5 play too, I thought, that tells you a lot about Cignetti. He believes in his team to get to 4th and 5. At the end of the first half, Mario doesn't believe in his team to get a 4th and 2 in short yardage and tries a 50-yard field goal. I thought that was very telling of the two coaches, and what makes Cignetti, in my mind, a pretty special coach.
Let's go back to the Shannon Dawson comment. Do you think he's been handcuffed? Because that's not the kind of offense that he likes to run. Do you think because Mario is big, we got a huge offensive line, we're going to impose our will, how these O-line coaches talk? I feel like when I've watched Miami, even the last 2 years, I feel like Shannon Dawson's been handcuffed, so to speak.
It could be fair, and he's an air raid guy, right? But he, there was a sequence where they had 3 straight throws where they just completely abandoned the run.
Yeah.
With Beck, and it was very clear that Indiana was dropping a lot in the coverage, and they were just basically deflecting every pass. So I just feel like sometimes it's a feel thing with him during the course of the game. Like when the run is working, I would like to see him, stick with the run a little more. But I go back to that Ole Miss game when he called that flea flicker after that long run. But listen, Fletcher's a horse, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be back next year. And we'll see what happens with Mensa. That's going to be an interesting case.
Well, I was going to ask you there. Okay, so Duke is suing Mensa or whatever. So if he is to go to Miami, Miami's going to have to pay all that money to Duke and then pay Mensa on top of it?
I think that's the case, although they haven't necessarily named Miami in the lawsuit yet. I'd have to study a little more, Shane, but it's just a mess in general. And, to me, it's, and Emory Williams, their backup for many years, he went in the portal. He's going to go to East Carolina. So it's, it'll be a shaky situation at quarterback if they can't get Mensa for some reason. They're going to have to, really dig deep into their roster to try to find something that works.
What do you like what the Gators have done in the portal?
Yeah, I do. I think that, they've gotten a few, guys. I think Singleton is a great get, helping replace Trey Wilson. So you've got a guy that I think Singleton is more durable and more productive than Trey Wilson was, right? So I think there's, that was a wash there. And I think that, the key is retaining to Bond. And we'll see about Philo. I think that the coaching staff, though, from what I'm hearing, is higher than Tramel Jones Jr. than you think. So I think that will be a legit competition, and it'll be interesting to see, when the spring rolls around in early March, how that plays out. And I think everyone thinking just because Philo has this connection with Buster Faulkner, he's automatically going to be the starter. I think Tramel's going to get a little bit of a shot here to show that at least he has an opportunity to win the job. And, maybe there'll be some instances where they play both.
Yeah, I think there'll be good competition come spring. All right, last text here before we get you out of here. Jackson wants to know, Kevin, right now, today, who wins the national championship in your mind in basketball?
Oof. I kind of like Big 12. I kind of like Houston. I kind of like Arizona. Um, you know, I think Michigan will be there. But listen, I think Florida can get back to the Final Four with the right draw. I think they can get there. And if the backcourt continues to develop, you never know. They could. But I really like the way they're playing right now, and I think they're starting to establish depth. Isaiah Brown has been a nice find as an eighth guy, and he's starting to play really well. So they're solving some of the problems that they had in the non-conference schedule. So I wouldn't necessarily count the Gators out yet.
I was flipping through the channels the other night, and obviously Purdue was on, and I watched a little bit of it. Do they have a 7'4" guy every year that Matt Painter's been there? It seems like they always have a 7'4" guy.
Yeah, that's what he does. He goes, he gets the 7-footers. They know that he does a good job of developing them. Um, hey, who knows if Ollie doesn't hit the court? Maybe, maybe
He'll transfer to Purdue.
Maybe he'll transfer to Purdue. Maybe Matt Painter will try to work with him because he does wonders with those 7-footers. And Matt's an amazing coach in general too, and he just knows to get the guys that fit his system. And listen, when I was there, Indiana was getting all the 4 stars, the 5 stars, and Matt was getting those under the radar 3 and 4 star guys and developing them and beating Indiana every year because he's just that's the kind of coach he is. He just believes in his system, his structure, the consistency of his program, and it's they'll be in the mix too. Purdue will be. Braden Smith is a pretty dynamic guard and playmaker. So.
All right, real quick, Clayton's question for you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Why is Ingram not playing?
He's playing a little bit, but I think Isaiah Brown has just beat him out. I think he's, you only have so many rotation minutes. I think, listen, he'll learn, he'll develop. He comes in late in games and does what he does. But I think he'll be a guy that certainly in the future, as you mentioned, another guy that could be like a front court wing guy next year when all these, when the entire front court leaves, that he'll get his opportunity to continue to get more playing time.
Kevin, appreciate your time. Let everybody know they can follow you on Twitter.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway G1, and you can get me on GatorSportsGainesville.com.
Appreciate your time, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.
Yep, that's Kevin Brockway. Join us on the Titan More Highline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Silverback Concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it, we stand by it. Appreciate Kevin and JC for joining the program. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.